Hey babe, I tried calling, but your phone went straight to voicemail, so I'm guessing it's dead or you're busy or something. Anyway, if you get this message, I just wanted to let you know that I finished work early today. My boss overstaffed the place, so I said I'd go home to even out the numbers, so I'm heading home, and I guess I'll see you when I get there, or if you're out, I'll see you when you get there. Oh, also, because we've got like the whole day, I might have booked a little surprise for us to enjoy. It is an overnight stay, so you'll have to pack a bag, but it'll definitely be worth it. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. You don't need to worry about the kids. I've asked my mom to watch them for tonight, so it'll just be me and you. Something I can't wait for, because it's definitely been a while since we've been alone. Well, let me know when you've read this message. We've got to get to the place for check-in before 8, so if we can get off as quickly as possible, that'll be good. I love you, and I'll see you soon.
Andrew, how dare you do that? Do you even understand how rude you just were? Andrew?
I'm the rude one? Well, I'm so sorry. I'll just let you get back to cheating on me then.
What? Well, look, it's not like I planned for this to happen. I especially didn't think you'd barge in on us like you did, which was extremely rude and awkward, by the way.
Oh, I'm sorry. Next time I'll knock and let you know that I'll wait for you downstairs, shall I? Maybe I'll even bring a bottle of wine or something so we can all have a big laugh about it, yeah?
Geez, there's no reason for you to be so sarcastic. I'm not trying to be rude to you, am I?
I think I'm allowed to feel angry and upset at the fact that I just discovered my wife cheating on me.
Why should you feel upset? You never buy me the things I want or take me to the places I want to go. It was kind of selfish of you, don't you think? Plus, you are like never spontaneous or romantic for me, especially since we had George. And life like that can get kind of boring.
What? I buy you lots of things that you want. New clothes, jewelry. If I can afford it, then I'll get it for you. I've also taken you to lots of places and days out and weekend getaways and the like. Just because I can't afford to buy you the super expensive things that you want or take you to the most exclusive and expensive places, but I like to think that what I do for you is enough. We can't afford brands like Louis Vuitton or Gucci, and we definitely can't afford holidays to the Seychelles and places like Dubai or Bora Bora, like you want to go to. Especially with George to look after now, and think about in all of our plans. Having children is expensive, but it's definitely worth it. As for being spontaneous and romantic, I'm always asking you if you like to go away for little mini breaks, and I'm always buying you little gifts like flowers or chocolates and stuff like that.
Yeah, but that's not really what I want, is it? Maybe if you actually tried to do something with your life instead of working a simple, low-paying 9-to-5 job, I wouldn't have gone looking for someone better. Instead, I'd have to go and find someone who will actually treat me right. Someone who will do what I want and buy me what I want. Oh, yeah, and just barging in on me and Jack like that? Only to throw him out of the house without his clothes? That was an incredibly horrible thing to do. You don't just do that to people.
Molly, I had every right to do that. You were going behind my back in the worst way possible. You're my wife. How could you do that to me?
Well, is it really that difficult to understand why?
What do you mean?
Fine, I'll spell it out for you. You are just so incredibly boring and dull. And that would be okay if you had money, because then I could go off and entertain myself by going shopping or having spa days, or whatever whilst you looked after George. But you're not even rich. Honestly, what kind of idiotic woman would actually want to stay with a penniless, boring loser who can't even afford to buy his wife a diamond necklace, just to show that he loves her? And the fact that you have no money means that I'm often having to look after George because we can't afford a nanny. Do you know how tiring that is? And how time-consuming? I can't even go and get my nails done anymore because George won't sit still for long enough. I can't deal with it anymore. You really should have seen this coming.
If you hate me so much, why'd you bother agreeing to marry me in the first place?
Well, I thought that maybe you would rise in the ranks of your job to a high-paying position. Then I could have had the lifestyle that I want.
So, you were literally only with me for the money?
Yeah, pretty much.
You were seriously unbelievable. After everything I've done for you, I gave up the chance to go traveling and have an adventure simply because you said it would be better to get a job so that we could get a house and settle down. You knew that it was my dream to do that, to see the world. I even asked you to come with me. How's that for spontaneity? Not to mention George. How are we going to explain all of this to him?
Well, if I had known that you would just remain a lowly, underpaid loser, I wouldn't have bothered wasting my time being with you. And as for George, he'll come live with me, of course. I am his mother.
I don't think so. He's my son too, so if I have to fight you for custody, I will.
Well, you'll be for a big fight then. I'll happily take you to court over this.
Well then, I guess we'll have to see what happens. Until then, you can move out of my home. I'll keep George here as it's a more stable environment than whatever random guy you end up with.
I don't think you're keeping the house. I am.
Actually, I'm the one who's been paying the mortgage and all of the bills, so it's actually mine.
I don't think so. The courts will definitely side with me on this one, especially considering I'll have custody of George as well. You know, being the woman and all, they won't throw me out onto the streets, especially because I have no job. They'll let me keep the house whilst you continue to pay for it. LOL.
You really think they'll do that?
Yep. My friend Charlotte did the exact same thing as me, and she got to keep her husband's house. He's still paying for it now, and she gets alimony off of him. It's like the perfect way to have a luxurious lifestyle without having to lift a finger.
You're a horrible woman. I can't believe I didn't see it before. All those years trying to please you and make you happy, and you couldn't have cared less about me. Do you even care about George at all?
Of course I do. Anyway, let's face it, you're not the brightest crayon in the pack, are you? I've been cheating on you with Joe for at least 4 months now, and you didn't even notice. It's kind of sad, really. Yep, that's right. Anyway, I'm going to go now. I just thought I'd let you know that I've locked you out of the house, so don't even bother trying to get back in.
Tough luck. You're not stepping another foot in my house ever again. I'll put your things on the sidewalk at some point. If you want them, you better be quick to get them.
You can't do that, especially with George about.
George can stay at the house with me.
Whatever. I'll be by later to get my things. If you don't let me in, I'll call the police and claim that you're trespassing and squatting in my house.
You do remember my friend Zach is in the police, right?
Ugh, whatever. Just know that this isn't over. The courts will decide who gets custody of George.
Then I'll fight as hard as I can to try and gain full custody on him. He'd be better off with me than with you and whatever man you decided to be with that week.
Whatever. I'm going. I'll be by to pick up some of my things in a bit. And you better let me in.
Seriously, Molly? You might have won the custody trial, unbelievably, but that doesn't mean you can just waltz into my home whenever you feel like it, especially with your new boyfriend.
The court said that I won, so it's my house, so I get to decide who lives in it and who doesn't.
You won the custody hearing, but the house was given to me because I'm the one who's been paying its mortgage. I let you stay there so that you could sort yourself somewhere new to live, and so George had a safe place to stay whilst you got sorted. But instead you decided to move the very person you cheated on me with into my home?
Well, the house should be mine. I don't want to have to go and look for somewhere new.
Well, tough. I've been patient enough with you. I want you to get all of your things, and your boyfriend can get all of his, and I want you both out by tomorrow evening.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. This is my home, and I'm staying right here. It's the least that I'm owed for marrying you. I had hoped that by now you'd have been a rich and successful man who I could have had at least half of the money off of. But you're not. So a house is what I'll have to settle for.
Either you need to leave by tomorrow, I can stay at my mom's house tonight, or I'll call the police and have you thrown out.
Oh, please. You're just all talk. You won't actually do anything to me because you simply don't have the courage to do so. You'll just moan and whine, but ultimately, I'll win. Because I'm smarter and better than you in every way. I'll even lie if I have to. You know I can fake cry, so I'll just use that and make you look like the bad person.
Yeah, keep dreaming. It's not gonna happen.
We'll see. Though for now, it looks like you'll have to go back home to mommy and daddy. LOL.
Well, they're much nicer and kinder than you've ever been, so I don't really see how that's a loss for me. Hey Andrew, how are you holding up? Hey Matthew, it's been difficult, but I finally feel like I'm starting to get back to myself again, you know? I just feel sorry for George mostly. His parents are divorced and now he's got to grow up in a broken home. Not to mention, I hardly get to see him now. Yeah, about that. Is something wrong? Well, I don't know how true it is, but the other day I heard from Angela, my wife's sister and Molly's friend, that apparently George might not actually be yours. What? Like I said, I don't know how true it is, but apparently Molly was at a bar the other week and she was bragging about how she got you paying child support and the child wasn't even yours. She'd apparently cheated on you during your marriage. I can't... I can't believe it. I mean, I can believe she cheated, but George not being mine? Maybe you could do a DNA test just to make sure? Yeah, maybe. I'm sorry, dude. I didn't want to upset you, but I thought you should know. No, I'm glad you brought this to my attention. Thank you. Well, if you ever need someone to talk to or any help at all, just let me know. I'll be right here for you. Thank you. I might need you soon. Hey, Andrew, Mom's not happy with you. Oh, why's that? Because you've not been paying the correct child support? Yes, I have. Well, I was up until a few weeks ago. Well, why'd you stop? Mom says that she needs more money because we can't live off of what you're sending now. Well, she'll just have to get a job then, won't she? Just tell me the reason for not sending the money. Mom blames you for the lack of food. I won't pay any longer. Huh? Look, I'm sorry to tell you this, George, but I'm not gonna pay the child support because you're not actually my son. What, that can't be true. I'm afraid it is. Your mom cheated on me during our marriage and you're the result of that. I even did a DNA test to prove it. But that's not fair. You've always been my dad. I know, and I would gladly continue being your dad, but I just know that the money I send your mother isn't actually going towards you at all, but whatever she wants. If you'd like, we can try and get the court to grant me custody of you, but I don't know if they would allow it now that I'm not your biological dad. Well, maybe we can try. I miss you, and I hate living with Mom. She brings in a new guy like every week, and I'm sick of it. I want my life to be normal again. Well, then we'll definitely see what we can do about that. I just need a little bit of time to sort some things out, okay? Okay, I'll talk to you soon then.
So, did George ask why the payments have stopped? And you better have a good reason.
Well, the fact that George isn't actually my son should be good enough, right?
What? What are you on about? Don't be ridiculous.
You can give it up. I know you cheated on me, and I know it resulted in George. He's not my biological son, so technically, I have no reason to pay child support for him. If you want that, you'll need to ask his father because I'm not giving you another penny.
No, that's not fair. You weren't supposed to find that out.
Maybe next time don't go blabbing about it to everyone you know then. But now that I'm not technically his dad, the courts will side with me and make it so that I don't have to pay child support.
That's not fair. I don't care what the courts say. You owe me that child support. I want that money.
Well, tough, because you're not getting any of it.
Oh, get lost. It's not fair. I never thought you'd actually figure it out. Besides, you looked after him for all this time, so that makes you responsible for him. The court will side with me.
I've done my research. According to the judge, you'll actually have to pay me back all the child support money I've given you so far. Otherwise, they'll count it as fraud and you could get into some pretty serious trouble.
They can't do that.
Actually, they can.
I can't believe you've done this to me. It's not fair.
Well, I'm afraid that's life. Anyway, I'm gonna go and celebrate. Not only do I not have to pay you a single dollar anymore, but I no longer have to stay married to such a horrible woman. You're someone else's problem now.
But now that I've lost the child support, how am I supposed to get money?
You'll have to actually get a job, or don't. I don't really care. Anyway, I've got things to do, so I'm gonna go. Keep an eye out for a court summons because there'll definitely be one over this.
Wait, I've got nowhere to go. So maybe we can just give our relationship another go? I mean, I could stay at home and we could go to a couples therapy thing.
No way. I'm really not fussed what you do now. But it for sure won't be staying with me. You show me your true colors, and I'm not about to put myself back in that horrible situation. I'm done with you. For good.
No, you can't do that. Only I can decide if our relationship is over, not you.
Well, tough. I've decided that you and I are done. I don't want anything to do with you from this point on. Goodbye, Molly. I hope you have a good life, but it won't be involving me. After that, Molly was summoned to court, but not for the reason she thought. Me and George had put together a plan so that he could stay with me. Luckily, Molly's reckless behavior in bringing random men home helped, as the judge ruled her as putting George's safety at risk. The fact that none of the child support money I'd given her had actually been spent on George helped as well. George was put into my care, and we're actually living quite happily now. As for Molly, she now has to pay me child support, which I have put away in a savings account for George to have when he's old enough. Last I heard, she had to get a job as a cleaner in order to pay for all of this, as none of her boyfriends would give her any money. I'd say I felt bad for her, but sometimes you have to face the consequences of your actions.
Letitia, it's been a long time. I have something I'd like to ask you, so I'm wondering if now's an okay time?
Oh, well, if it isn't my little sister Blanca. The one that had her boyfriend stolen by me back in college and then ran back home to her parents crying and then ran off to never come back to us for 7 years. I remember you.
I understand that I've not come home for a very long time now, but I've still kept in touch with Mom and Dad. And the only reason I moved out of the house back then is because I was already planning on living on my own. And what you did to me was just going on at the same time. And as for that man you said you stole from me, he wasn't my boyfriend anymore, and we had already cut ties to one another before you started to date him.
Huh?
I told you time and time again to never go out with that man because he was bad news. But you never listened to me and kept saying that I was trying to keep him to myself and that you were so glad you were able to get him from me.
Huh?
Stop trying to act like you never heard any of that from me. I was never planning on going back out with that man, and the reason for that was pretty clear to me, and I'm sure clear to you now as well.
What are you talking about?
Don't you remember how you were only ever able to go out with him on Fridays? Well, that's because you were only his Friday girl.
What the heck is a Friday girl?
You don't know? There's 5 days during the week, before the weekend, Monday through Friday. And he happened to have a girl for every day of the week that he'd go out with. And he'd do that every week, going back to his Monday girl when the week started again.
What?
Sorry, we got a little off topic there. Now, Letitia. Right now, you're with my husband, Aaron, right?
Huh?
Coming over to my place to make out with him in my bed is absolutely gross, so I'd like for the two of you to stop that right now.
So you found out, huh?
Well, you got that one right.
Well, I guess that sucks, but at least now I don't really need to explain much. But unlike last time, this time I'm actually going to be stealing your man from you, and I'm not going to let him get away from me after. However, what makes this time even more different is that Aaron is married to you.
Well, you're right about that as well.
And one other thing. Just one other thing. I have something to tell you regarding me being with your husband now, and it's the perfect time for this.
What?
I'm pregnant with Aaron's baby.
Huh?
I think the day that he and I first got together was the day he got me pregnant, since we didn't have any protection then. But I'm sure that's a shock to you, since for the longest time now you've been trying for a baby, yet never got pregnant. So I'm sorry that I'll be the one carrying his kid now. I'm saying that I'm sorry that on our first try, we were able to make a baby together and didn't even have to try. And it seems that Aaron has been wanting a baby for so long now, right? Well, I don't think he'll ever be happy with a defect like you, so I'll be getting married to him now.
So this is how you learned about us having trouble making a baby? I see. Well, he and I have been talking to one another for a little while now about getting a divorce and all that comes with it.
Really?
Every single day, he'd blame me for being the reason I could never get pregnant, and it has started to really wear me down a bit. And recently, I just don't feel like being his wife anymore.
What the heck is up with that?
Well, this is all great news for you two. Congrats on getting pregnant with him.
Huh? Are you kidding me right now? You have no right being happy about us right now. I'm the one that's won, and you should not be happy about any of that.
And if that's what you want to think, then go right ahead and keep thinking that you've won. But be aware that I will be getting a settlement from the two of you, so don't dilly-dally on that.
Sure, whatever. It seems to me that Aaron is going to be paying for me as well, so you can ask for however much money you'd like from us. I mean, the guy's making around $1 million a year, so he's got the money to pay you off.
I see. So that's why you ended up wanting to steal him from me then.
Blanca, I'm sure you've already heard about us from your older sister, but everything she said was right. I've become a dad now, and I need to be responsible for the baby. And not just that, but I've also fallen in love with Letitia now. So there's nothing more you can do to get me to stay with you.
Hold on a second. I understand that we've been married for 3 years now, and you and I have been unsuccessful at having a baby together. But remember that just a little while before, you and I went in and took a fertility test at the clinic nearby? Right now, we're waiting on the results of that test, right? So what are we going to do about that?
Well, about that. As you can see, me getting your sister pregnant pretty much means that I'm not the one with the problem, so I guess it means you're the unlucky one in all of this, so sorry.
Are you really sure that you getting her pregnant is the right thing to base the answer off of?
I have a very good reason to doubt me being the one that's infertile. So I think I'll stick with the answer being that you're the one with the issues.
Is that so? All right then. But when I get the results from those tests, you don't need to hear about them from me, right? I'm okay to keep that all to myself?
Well, I already know that I'm not the one with the problems, so I don't care to listen to you tell me that you are infertile. And besides, I'm going to be the one paying you for a settlement anyway for being with your sister now, so you can go ahead and just stop talking to me from now on. I've already been given the okay from your parents, so I don't need to hear from you later that you want me back.
I'm sure that my parents aren't okay with what's going on here. Rather, they don't want your kid growing up in a messed up family without a father, so they're letting you stay with her for the baby's sake.
Well, what difference does that make? All that really matters to me now is if that baby is going to be a boy or a girl, and I can't wait to find out.
I see. Well, I'm going to ask for a lawyer to help with the divorce papers and the settlement, so you can wait to hear things from them and handle things.
Sounds good. I'll be waiting.
Blanca! Thank you so much for getting divorced from Aaron. So now, starting today, he is officially my man and nobody can touch him. I'm sure you've already gotten the money from him, right? Well, if you have, that means we can stop talking about all of this now.
I feel as though there might still be things to talk about later, but who cares, right? By the way, I'm pretty surprised to have learned this, but when you were with Aaron, you had a fiance yourself, right?
I'm sure I did have one, but he was only making around $80,000 a year. That obviously wasn't enough to afford me for the long haul, and seeing a man before my eyes who's making $1 million a year, well, I couldn't just sit around and let him get away. So that's why I jumped on him.
I can't believe what I'm hearing, but I want to know if Aaron had to pay that guy off as well for you.
Well, of course he has. But Aaron has the money to pay him, so I don't mind. And to be honest, if Aaron wasn't going to offer to pay for me during times like these, I'd leave him in a heartbeat.
You seriously only care about people's money, huh?
Don't feel so jealous about me getting to have him now, okay? It's only fair considering I'm the one with the better butt, and I have to say that my waist has slimmed down quite a bit. If it wasn't for those two things, I'm sure your little pencil body could have kept him on your leash. By the way, we're planning to hand in our marriage papers this week. And thank you again for divorcing him before my belly started to get really large with his baby.
Oh, wow, really? That's so great.
Blanca, I'm finally at my final month of the pregnancy.
Is that so? Well, I'm pretty busy now, so I'll talk to you another time.
Wait! I can see that you may want to act all okay about what's happening here, but I can tell you're hurting from all this news.
No, I'm over being upset about what's happened, Letitia.
You're really going to keep trying to act all tough in front of me?
I have to leave my house soon.
Slow down for just a little bit longer. I have just a bit more that I'd like to talk about. I get that you might want to get out and get back to whatever work or hobby you're up to, but you're still a single woman with no man to look forward to, so all that work and time you have to get to is for nothing.
I'm serious about not having the time right now. I'm going to be late for the plans I have to pick someone up.
Oh? You have to get there to see them that badly? Who is it?
My boyfriend.
Huh?
Bye-bye.
You already have another man by your side? What the heck, Blanca? What the hell is this piece of mail? What are these test results?
Oh, so those finally showed up at your place then. Well, when I was unpacking all my things after moving into my new place, I happened to find that at the bottom of one of my boxes. It must have gotten in there by accident, so I'm sorry for keeping you both waiting on the news. But that's why you're only getting those results from me now.
I don't give a crap about how these got here and why. I want to know what all of this means for Aaron. What does it mean he suffers from male infertility? He told me that you're the one that suffers with that crap, not him.
And right before the two of us got divorced, we took some tests to see who was in trouble. But I got results back saying there was nothing wrong with me.
Huh? Hold on a second. That means that I'm in trouble now.
I'm the one that's got issues? Blanca, why did you never tell me all of this sooner when you got the results in?
Well, even if I wanted to tell you, we had already gotten divorced by the time I got your results, and so I didn't really care to tell you.
But back then, there was still a bunch of time before Letitia was going to have her dang baby, right?
Well, I'm sorry, but I didn't know that my sister was carrying a baby that wasn't your own at the time.
Huh?
You were the one saying that the baby was yours for sure, and telling you both that the baby wasn't yours would have caused her a lot of stress. And it's not good for the baby to stress their mother when they're still inside. Now stop talking to me, Aaron.
He's asking to get a divorce from me. We had to make sure that we weren't just tripping about him not being able to have a baby, and so we took the baby's DNA, and it of course showed that it's not his. When we learned that he couldn't give me a baby, I wanted to start thinking of ways to help fix him and all of that, but why the hell did you not tell the both of us this a whole lot sooner?
Well, when you were talking about stealing him from me, the results hadn't come out yet for the tests we took.
Seriously?
Whether you were planning on taking my husband at the time away from me or not, or whether we had been divorced yet or not, I didn't know a thing about him being 100% infertile. But I'll tell you that when we were talking before the divorce, I asked him if he wanted me to tell him the results or not of the tests when I got them, and he said he didn't care. So stop trying to act as though I was trying to set you both up or anything like that, because I tried to help you both.
For crying out loud. It seems that my ex-boyfriend has found out about all of this now, and he keeps blowing up my phone about wanting me to test and see if he's the father.
Is that right?
No matter what I try and do now, this is all screwed the frick up.
Blanca, how about the two of us get remarried? After hearing that you were able to have a baby now, I guess I can't complain anymore about you, so I think it'd be fine being back together with you and all that. And I get that I can't give you a baby, but hey, at least now we don't have to worry about protection in bed, right? Well, I'm totally alright with us getting things cooking again. And I'm sure you are too. I'm going to start filling out our marriage forms and we'll be over at your place really soon. I can't wait for you to be my wife again. I can't believe it, Blanca. I heard from a friend of mine. You've gotten married to another man now. Please tell me you're at your new place now waiting for me to show up, okay? You still love me and want me to be your husband again, right? Blanca. Blanca. What is going on here? I just went to the apartment that you and I have been living in together. And when I went and knocked on the door for you to let me in, a couple that I've never seen before opened the dang door up. And I asked the landlord what happened to you. She said the day after you and I got divorced, you moved out of the apartment with all of your things. When you do something as important as that, you have to tell me those things, okay? I even heard from your sister that you never go back to your parents' house. So where the hell have you run off to?
I had totally forgotten that I turned all of the notifications from Aaron off, and so the whole time he was texting me, I never saw a thing. But it's been a week now since his last text, and I have to say I think he's given up on trying to get me to come back. Now to start things off with what happened afterwards, the baby that my sister ended up having turned out to be the baby of a man she used to be engaged to before going to Aaron. Letitia tried to go back to him, asking for the two of them to get back together, but that didn't work. And somewhere along the way, her ex ended up getting custody of the baby and taking it away from her. So for the kid's sake, that's a huge win right there. Anyway, after what happened to her, she went back to her old ways of stealing men from other women, and one day wound up with a man who's in serious debt. As of right now, no one is really sure what happened to her and that man, but they're off the grid now. As for my ex, Aaron, being divorced for a second time due to the fact that the baby was never his and that he couldn't handle the pain of being infertile, he became super depressed and stopped going out and to work. He was later fired from that job and is now having to deal with all sorts of costly things like not being able to pay for his house and having to pay a settlement to Letitia after getting that divorce. So all I can really say about him now is that he's struggling to swim out of the deep end of life.